National coin shortage has retailers pleading for exact change. That's an article in the New York Post posted yesterday, July 1st, 2020. Of course, with the situation that is all going on, this is supposedly in relation to that. Now, when the video I posted yesterday, the pastor who mentioned his dreams that he had, but this, I believe, was reported already that there's supposedly a coin shortage in America right now, and that he said that it would lead to ones and fives potentially if his dream is correct. So I wanted to look into it more, and sure enough, they're saying that right now there's a coin shortage, which really doesn't make sense, but I'll read the first few paragraphs of this article. It says, the current situation crisis has sparked a national coin shortage that reportedly has retailers pleading with customers for exact change. The Federal Reserve revealed last month that the pandemic had significantly disrupted the supply chain and circulation patterns for America's metal money. The U.S. Mint has slowed production of coins because of measures meant to protect workers amid the crisis, while coin deposits from banks have also fallen in the past few months, the central bank said. With demand for coins rising as states begin to reopen, the Fed on June 15 started limiting how many pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters it distributed to banks as part of its effort to mitigate the effects of low coin inventories. Now, this really doesn't make too much sense on many different levels. First off, isn't there a huge discussion going on about essential and non-essential? Wouldn't you think that the people who are distributing and creating are, first off, fake money that's so tremendously in debt that is unbelievable and will eventually crash? But wouldn't that be an essential job? Not to mention that with the coins and all that, how these things are created and distributed, the majority of it is probably done with machines. And again, wouldn't it be essential? I mean, I see the same people at Walmart consistently. I see the same people at the post office not wearing masks or gloves, which obviously I support them doing that, but they're not getting sick and they're just fine. But for some reason we got to stop making coins. The whole point of that is really that this could easily lead to them just saying, well, we're just done with coins. We're done with the coins here. We'll go to bills. Oh, you know what? We're done with small bills. We'll just have 20s and hundreds like the pastor mentioned in the last video, but it makes sense. And then just eventually, well, you know what? We'll just go to digital currency. And, just to be safe, so you don't have to swipe your card and touch the thing at the counter, we'll just put a little mark in your head and in your hand. That way you can, hands-free pay for something because we don't want you touching the dial pad because you might get sick. And this whole thing could really lead to this situation that we're told about and what we know will come in Revelation 13:17 whenever that happens. That says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Of course, it's hard to imagine a world with everybody with a mark in their hand, in their head, but we see how quickly everybody took to wearing a sewn mask that their grandma made them, and supposedly they think it's going to prevent the spread of this mysterious thing that popped up out of nowhere. And we see how quickly everyone took to that. Oh, gotta get this. You save a life when you wear a mask, and it's just so insane how quickly people took to this. So it's really not too hard to imagine a day where people say, well, to prove that you have your shot, or just to be safe because we've run out of money, we're switching to just all digital currency. We're just going to put a mark in your hand and your head, and that way you can, buy without touching anything, and as well as we can just swipe it and know that, you're up to date on your shots. That it could very easily lead to that, as we see how easily people who watch the news and listen to mainstream news sources on the internet, how just absolutely without any independent thought or coherent thought on their own, just eat up whatever is told to them, and they'll just say, well, the New York Post said I really need to get a mark in my hand or my head, so I'm just going to do it because I just believe whatever I read. As long as it's a mainstream news article, I'll believe it. They could seriously, this whole time I've thought, and it's totally true, that they could seriously come out and say, start eating your grass in your front yard and you'll be safe. You'll be a lot safer. I was even joking around with somebody who I was discussing things with on Facebook, someone who I didn't agree with anything they said. And I said, well, there's, a study that just came out that said if people who comment more on Facebook are more likely to get sick. And this person half bought it, and they were seriously like a little bit concerned and asking for me to point them to the article because they're like seriously acting as if that's a thing. That's just how insane people are. You could literally tell them anything and they'll believe it. And these are just all things to keep in mind and to be on alert for, because we know in Revelation, the beast, the Antichrist, when he comes on the earth, he will take control of all the nations, whether it's a specific one world government that goes under one name or whether he just becomes a leader that all these nations adhere to. We don't know quite yet exactly, but we do know that he will have authority over every tribe, people, and language and nation that dwell on the earth, and the nations will worship him. Everybody whose name was not written in the Lamb's Book of Life, that's Revelation 13:7-8. And Revelation 13:3-4 says the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast, and who can fight against it? So the whole earth will fall under sway of this, and we know that with false signs and wonders, as well as the false prophet will be doing, and the Antichrist. These are just things to watch for and obviously to not support. They have no right to, no one has a right to implant you with anything, force you to mark anything, force you to wear anything. Free human beings have the right to do whatever they want as long as they're not harming everybody else, and that's what to keep in mind. And all this stuff is really just to watch. We don't know if this exactly will be the ushering in of it, but we see and we've seen throughout the years how they try with any little bit they get. Just they get a little chance. The evil people who hold high positions in the world and corporations, any chance that they get to abuse their power and force their beliefs upon us, make themselves richer and then more powerful for the ultimate goal to take over the world. This is what they do, and this is what evil does. And throughout history, and especially since technology has become what it is, we've seen them, whenever they get the opportunity, to try to infiltrate and put their evil systems in place more, they take advantage of that. And so it's important to not adhere to it. And that's one reason why we see such chaos in America. It's really true. America has some things that an evil world leader such as the Antichrist or any evil organization that would want to try to take over the entire world, America has things that stand in the way of that, such as our amendments and our Constitution. The greatest, whether you agree with some things in it or not, it's by far the greatest governing system and way that any nation has decided to govern itself and its people. The most free by far, and we're losing those freedoms constantly, and people just give them up all the time. The whole, groups 10 or larger goes right against the First Amendment, your free right to assemble, as well as we see big tech organizations censoring people with differing beliefs, as we've seen more and more throughout the years, not adhering to the First Amendment of the United States. So again, these are just things to be watchful for and things to watch and be on alert for. And just like in my last video that I posted, if you didn't see it, about the pastor's dreams that he had and that he believed was from God about the coming months in America, these are just warnings for you to be aware of and to prepare accordingly to, however you see fit. I mean, if you saw what went on, whatever, a month or two ago, or maybe you're still experiencing it in the grocery stores with shortages on food, toilet paper, water, all these different things, and now that the stuff isn't stocked back up, hopefully you're realizing that you should probably have a little bit stocked up at your house, because that whole thing that just happened where everything was gone will happen again. And here in Revelation, whenever Revelation does take place, the people who are living on the earth at that time will deal with a absolute serious food shortage that we've never seen. 1/3 of the animals dying, famines, pestilence all throughout the land. 100 times worse than what we've been told is even happening now. Even if what we were told was the truth, it would be 1,000 times worse when that takes place. So, I mean, just like Jesus said, I told you so. I told you ahead of time. So when these things take place, you know that I told you the truth. And so it would be a good thing to be prepared for those coming times. And it's really just smart to have that stuff, especially as we saw, like I just mentioned, that clearly the supply chain will be disrupted one way or another, and it happens. And of course, you would like to have food and the necessities. So these are things to keep an eye on. We'll see what takes place with this. The most important thing is following Jesus Christ and accepting him. That's the most important thing, because we got to endure until the end, because what really matters, these years that we live here on earth or eternity, billions and billions and trillions of years never ending. What matters is that we accept Jesus Christ and follow him and endure until the end through whatever comes in our future. Pray for things to get better. Pray for God to lead us out of this. But we will see. Maybe this is the beginning of Revelation. We'll know more as more things unfold in the future. Thanks for watching. God bless.